This is the calculator activity for lesson 1.5. It is found in page 35 of your textbook. You're going to need a CAS calculator to complete this activity. The activity is, suppose a puddle of water is evaporating and its depth d of t in inches after t days is given by the formula d of t equals 6 minus 1/16 t squared. In step 1, we're going to enter that equation into your graph on your calculator. Step 2, you're going to set up a table with certain values. Step 3, we're going to look at those values. Step 4, we're going to understand those values. And step 5, we're going to figure out what the water depth is after 6 days. And step 6, when is the water depth a certain amount, and at what point would it be that? So now let's go to your calculator and work this through on your calculator. Okay, you should be in graphing mode on your calculator, and we're going to enter that function into the calculator. It was d of t equals 6 minus 1, I need to do the control and division to get that 1 divided by 16, and then times, we got to do arrow next to it, times, otherwise you end up with t squared underneath. But in this case, we can't enter t squared, we got to enter x squared, so we just got to put it in terms of x, that's all. We're replacing the t's with x's. For the t's, which are now x's, it stands for days. And it's basically the days it takes the water to evaporate in the puddle. Now hit enter and you'll see a graph like that on your calculator. Next, you're going to press menu and view. Actually, instead of doing it the menu view way, we want a table, and for some of you, your calculators may be set up a little differently. So you can push Control and the letter T, and it'll give you a split screen where you can see a table. Now we need to edit the settings on that table in order to get the right information. Okay, press Menu, Table, Edit Settings. And you want your table to start at -5, and it's going to go up incrementally by increments of 1. So you can leave the table step at 1.0. And then everything else can stay the same. Just click OK or enter on your calculator. Okay, now let's look at that table. Your table should look like mine. So at -5, you should have 4.4375. -4, you should have 5. You can move up and down that table using the up arrow on your calculator or the down arrow. And you can see it goes through the different values of x, which stand for t. The values in the x column, this first x column right here, they represent t, which is days. Days it's going to take that water to evaporate in the puddle. The values in the f of x column, they represent the inches in the puddle. So while it's evaporating, these are the inches. So after 1 day, there's still 5.9375 inches left in the puddle. After 5 days, there's 4.4375 inches left in the puddle. Negative values wouldn't make sense. So if we scroll up to the negative values, those negative in the x column, -4, 3, 2, 1, those would stand for negative days, and that doesn't make sense since you can't have negative days. So we would only be interested in the positive x values, those positive t values that stand for days. So like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, and so on. So the next question, question 5. What is the water depth after 6 days? So let's scroll down where x equals 6. You can see x equals 6. And it shows us that the water depth after 6 days would be 3.75 inches. So then what is the water depth, or when is the water depth 5.75 inches? So this is the last question on the activity. So this time they want to know when the water depth is 5.75 inches. So we're going to scroll through our table using the down arrow or the up arrow and look for 5.75. There I see 5.75. That's the inches, that's the depth of the puddle. And if I go over, my x value is 2, which we know is the t, which stands for days. So it's going to be 2 days when it's going to have to be after 2 days, the puddle depth will be 5.75 inches. Make sure you know how to do this on your calculator and can work with the table and the graph.